It is time for What the H, and this one kind of blew me away a little bit, to be real honest with you.
What the? What was he thinking?
Release the hounds.
The Dave Hooker Show.
Keep cool.
A presentation of OffTheHookSports.com.
So sometimes we pull stuff from other places. Other times, Caleb has, or I have, what we think's a good idea. I love Caleb. I think he's a great individual, has excellent journalistic skills, but he brought this up at our 3:45 a.m. production meeting. And if you notice, I just sat there very quietly and I didn't say anything because I was going to let Caleb make his position and defend himself. Caleb thinks Tennessee might be a finesse team under Josh Heupel relative to the rest of the SEC. Why, Caleb Calhoun, are you saying that for a team that's steeped in running the football?
So we talked about this yesterday because it kind of, you brought up Tennessee versus Washington and you brought the War Daddies up front. And I'm like, I still don't think Tennessee has those War Daddies right now. And it kind of got me thinking. Last year, I was a big defender of Heupel, and Heupel was a big defender of his system because Heupel is not, we agree, Heupel's not what Mike Leach was. Rest in peace. He runs the ball.
Oh, and explain that.
Mike Leach spreads with 4 wide receivers and just and beat you down the field with short passes the whole game, pretty much with the air raid. That's what he does. What would be a running play for a regular team is a 4-yard hitch route for Mike Leach in his offense, and he kind of sticks to the same philosophy all the way down the field. Heupel does run the ball. Heupel's flexible. His play calling is good. So I'm actually not talking about his system here. And I want to be clear on that. I'm not attacking Josh Heupel's system. I'm saying I'm wondering if
you kind of are.
No, I'm not. I'm wondering if his confidence in his system is resulting in him creating a culture of being just a little too finesse. Dave, I was very high when he was recruited on Addison Nichols. Then I was very high on Gerald Mincey signing with Josh Heupel. You are the one who's telling me that both are too soft right now to start on the offensive line for Tennessee. Everybody that's starting for Tennessee and that they're set on right now.
You said 2 offensive linemen. Who's the second offensive lineman?
Addison Nichols and Gerald Mincey.
Well, I don't think Gerald Mincey gets it. I don't know that he's soft. If you wanted to support your argument, I would say Elijah Simmons. I think he should be a lot tougher. But anyway.
Okay. I see that actually wouldn't, though, because Jimmy Pruitt recruited Elijah Simmons. So I'm going to be fair on that.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm not sure. I can't tell you 100% the deal with Mincey. I'll tell you when I can tell you I'm pretty sure about something. I'm not sure if Mincey doesn't get it upstairs or if it's a toughness issue.
The 2 only sure bets on the line for Tennessee this year, one is hurt right now, Cooper Mays, but then the other one is Javonte Spraggins. They were both Pruitt guys, both of them. And they're the only guys that we know are tough enough right now to handle playing on the offensive line, just as Darnell Wright and Jerome Carvin were last year, both Pruitt guys. On the defensive side, we still have a lot of questions right now. We have a lot of hype behind players, but look at everybody being named on defense. Amari Thomas, Bryson Eason. You mentioned Elijah Simmons, who might be soft, unfortunately. But still, all these guys are all these guys are
almost like a parent saying, and then we've got Bob, who's not the greatest son in the world, but you know.
Yes. All these guys they were still Pruitt signees even if they work out. But I think the Addison Nichols thing was a red flag to me first. Then the whole Heupel doesn't allow fighting in practice, which is a big deal to me too also, where he's just, there seems to be I don't want to toughen up my players too much on the line. And we haven't seen any proof yet. And Dave, you got to give me this. We've seen 0 evidence that Heupel signees are tough in the trenches.
Okay. Let me address those 3 things. Seems to have recruited soft offensive linemen. That's a problem with Addison Nichols. I don't know that that's a widespread problem to this point. And if I misspoke at some point previously about Gerald Mincey, I apologize because I may have put you in a bad position, but doesn't prioritize defense. I think that he prioritizes defense by making sure that Tim Banks doesn't go anywhere else, but it's always going to be a program steeped in offense and scoring fast. No fighting allowed in practice. Where did that come from? Well, that came from a conversation that we had with Cooper Mays on the Ball Report. And he said there's absolutely no fighting in practice. And I thought it was odd because the 98 team had an all-out melee brawl that helped the offense toughen up, and it helped them get some confidence, and they went on to win a national championship. But that's a little antiquated. If you go back 50 years, there wasn't water on the sidelines, and they had salt tablets, and they had wet towels that you could suck on. So stuff gets antiquated. Now, do I have a problem with a little bit of fighting and maybe a brawl? Not if I'm stacked 1-85 like that 98 team. If I'm building a program, I've got a bigger problem with fighting because I don't want somebody getting hurt. And we saw that, we saw that with Butch Jones, or somebody fell on a helmet. They didn't. So
How do you get stitches from that? Sorry.
I don't. So fighting allowed in practice, I'm not sure that that's going to be his MO, but I would say 70%, if you want to go back 25 years, 70% of football practices in preseason involve some fighting. Now it's probably the exact opposite. I don't think people allow fighting nearly as much because it's not PC, number one, and two, you could get somebody hurt. So maybe that's not soft. Maybe that's smart, Caleb.
Okay.
And notice
Yes.
I say maybe because I'm okay with a little bit of fighting in practice.
I'm a little suspect of it. And let's bring up this name because we talk about him a lot on the show. I think we're both fans, but it is true that we keep saying that Josh Heupel's today's Steve Spurrier. Dave, let's be honest. In the 90s, Florida got exposed being finesse in a lot of games because of Steve Spurrier's system, didn't they? I mean, let's just plug in that Nebraska national title game in 95.
I would strongly disagree with that as a whole. I thought they ran the football. I thought they were tough on defense. That one game I'll give you, but I thought for the most part that was very Heupel-like in that, yes, they would pass early, but then they would run it down your throat late.
But there's a reason Spurrier only got one national title, and he backed into that national title, by the way.
True, but I think it was his ego. I think it was his ego that threw the ball too much. I thought they were physical, but his ego, when the passing game didn't work in the first half, he kept chucking it in the third quarter. So maybe we're splitting hairs a little bit.
I mean, but that has to stand out because he was willing to run it at South Carolina to agree. It just look, I think Spurrier, I love him. I love the way he dominated the SEC, but I go back and look. Remember his one national title. I don't know if you could really say he deserved that national title. He got a rematch with Florida State because all the luck fell in his favor because that year the Rose Bowl wasn't part of the bowl coalition. So the undefeated Arizona State team went to go play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Had that not existed, Arizona State plays Florida State in the national title, and Steve Spurrier is walking away with no national championship ring to his resume. At which point his whole legacy is totally different than it is right now. And
go ahead.
And I think the Nebraska game, the Florida State, he was 3-7, I think, against Florida State. I think it was because Bobby Bowden's Florida State teams were more physical than his teams were.
Oh, see, those teams were super soft, if you ask the 98 balls.